It's hard to be optimistic. I think, I try not to be a passive observer. We just need to act as best as we can, given whatever cards we're dealt. So we've gone through this many times. It's my entire adult life. The establishment comes in on the alleged liberal side and then the alleged right-wing side, and everybody that you think is opposed to the establishment, whether it's Obama or whether it's Trump, they're not opposed to the establishment. They're what I call the opposable thumb of the establishment. They just help it grab more. So we need to just push them as much as possible. I mean, look, the incoming State Department is Rubio. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, his statements, I caught just a little bit of his hearing. And I mean, he was doing the same justifications about October 7th. And so, I mean, he was just totally, anything and everything that Israel does is justified.
Well, we actually have, I think, a clip of Rubio that would be really useful to play.
First of all, it is going after a non-member state on the claims that I believe, in fact, I think just in the last 24 hours, the Israeli High Court filed an appeal before the ICC, even though it's not a member state. And I saw some of the filings from the prosecutor. Mr. Khan was involved in that process. And he argues that they have the right to go after non-members for their activities within the confines of member states in this case. And I think, first of all, the whole premise of his prosecution is flawed, beyond the process of it and the precedent that it sets, which is a very dangerous precedent for the United States of America, by the way, because this is a test run. This is a trial run to see, can we go after a head of state from a nation that's not a member? If we can go after them and we can get it done with regards to Israel, they will apply that to the United States at some point. And in fact, there have been threats to do so in the past. But the premise of the prosecution itself is completely and utterly flawed. As you said, they went ahead, I think they also went after Sinwar. Well, number one, Sinwar didn't travel around the world. He's not with us any longer. But he didn't travel around the world, was at no risk of being apprehended. Second of all, the moral equivalency piece of it was offensive.
Yeah, what he's basically arguing there is that Israel and the United States need to be above the law. And the fact of the matter is that the ICC, the International Criminal Court, for years attempted to evade any responsibility to do anything with the Palestinians. It was used extensively against all of these African leaders, and then they eventually used it against Putin, even though Putin isn't, Russia isn't a signatory either. The U.S. was delighted that a non-signatory was targeted by the ICC in that case. And I don't believe that Ukraine is a signatory either. The Palestinians did sign it in a, desperate attempt to get some accountability from the continuous attacks by Israel, and the ICC continuously stalled, recognizing Palestine's pleadings that, yes, we recognize it. Yes, we sign on to the court and so on. For years and years, the ICC tried to brush that away. And even the current prosecutor attempted to not do anything for many, many months, close to a year, but then only after South Africa did their case, after a lot of people pushed for that. I was involved with that. And the ICJ took some action. Then finally, the ICC started kicking in. So it's very belated and meager rectification from the ICC. But even that, Rubio doesn't even want that. And this shows that Israel, in a way, is useful to the U.S. establishment because they want to use it to set up a mechanism to undermine international law generally. I think international law is born of the targets. Democracy is a target of the establishment. International law is a target of the establishment. Anything that reins it in from doing whatever the hell it wants, whenever the hell it wants.
I know you have to leave soon, and we really appreciate your time. Let's just take a look. I thought as a cool contrast, Drop Site News tweeted this out. They compared the way CNN described you to the way that they reacted to James Woods, who famously, of course, said, kill them all, referring to Palestinians. And he's one of the people who lost his home in the California wildfires. CNN anchor Pamela Brown describes journalist Sam Husseini confronting Secretary Blinken for his continued enabling of genocide in Gaza as cringeworthy heckling by activists. Her sharp critique for a fellow journalist stands in contrast to her handling of actor James Woods, recently famous for publicly calling for the continued slaughter of 2.3 million people in Gaza when he cried on air over fears that one of his houses may have burned down in the LA fires. So let's take a look at this.
I'm 77 years old, man. I can't walk up these hills. It's like Mount Everest there. It's like, pretty steep. So, it's just I posted this on X, but Sarah was on with her 8-year-old niece last night. And she came out. I'm sorry. Just, one day you're swimming in the pool and the next day it's all gone. But she came out with her little Yeti piggy bank for us to rebuild our house.
Oh my gosh. James Woods, we all hope that you will be able to rebuild your house, maybe starting with that little Yeti piggy bank. And we're just glad that you're okay and your wife is okay.
I'm sorry,
you have your lives. Yeah, no, I mean, this is real and it's raw.
I thought I
and
would be stronger than this.
You don't need, you are, you know what? Strength is not measured by whether, you hold in crying or not. Strength is what you are doing now and helping your neighbors and shining a light on the great, amazing work of all those firefighters and emergency crews out there. You have so much strength, and we appreciate you coming on to reflect what so many others just like you are experiencing in that raw emotion right now. We wish you the best, you and your wife, as you rebuild your lives. So many people are doing that right now and trying to process what's going on. So, James, and also keep us posted on your 94-year-old neighbor and everything going there. We're going to continue to talk, and we wish you the very best.
He's okay. He's okay. Yeah. They found him. He's in the hospital.
He's okay, yeah.
I just worry. If anybody knows where Robert Trinkteller is, call me, let me know. All right.
That's an important message. And also there's this app that's really important.
So really, really moving from Pamela of CNN, Pamela Brown. It's nice that she has, I guess, compassion for people who, wish death on Palestinians. Maybe it's because you're Palestinian yourself, actually. If you're a Palestinian reporter, you may deserve to you are cringeworthy, you're cringe, and you also deserve to be dragged out.
Yeah, it's funny when people, this whole selective compassion kind of thing is so, it brought to mind for me years ago, I think it might have been a Kathy Kelly story where she meets a man in Iraq and she, what do you wish for George Bush? And he says, I wish that George Bush goes to heaven. She's like, why do you wish that George Bush goes to heaven? He's like, so that he meets all of the beautiful Iraqi children that he killed. So it's hard not to think about that.
A miracle has happened. James Woods' house survives the LA fires. But great. But any final words from you? I know you have another interview, but I just saw you getting moved with that, with what you were saying. No. Lost in this conversation sometimes are those the children who are being killed, and watching journalists be upset. I'll call them journalists. You are a journalist, but watching journalists like Pam upset at questioning people in power is pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it's totally disgusting. It's totally disgusting, especially when we're talking about people who are in positions of power that is inflicting massive carnage on huge numbers of innocent people and who are minimally humanized, if at all, often demonized in brazen and subtle ways. I feel like I don't take in a lot of reality of suffering. I try to pursue what I know in terms of policy and legal violations and duplicity and lies and so on. But even all of that is sort of antiseptic compared to the, brutal reality of, bombing hospitals and mass carnage that it's hard to take in. And then big media outlets attempt to, very selectively manifest the emotions of the public in a way that manipulates it. Right. And allows them to grieve only for certain things and not for other things, and to empathize with certain people and to effectively massively dehumanize other people. It's all incredibly horrific to me.
Right. Like empathize with Blinken and James Woods.
Right. We have to see it from their point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Right.